Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. How are you all coping out there? Any sign of cabin fever yet? We can see light at the end of the tunnel, so please hang on in there. And spare a thought for today's guest, Jason Wu, founder and CEO of a company called DeFiner, which is a peer-to-peer fintech network for digital savings, loans and payments, because they got accepted recently on the Techstars program, which can only be described as fantastic news, as any startup founder will tell you. But he has been stranded in Abu Dhabi for 3 months and unable to fly back to the US due to the lockdown. And just when he thinks he has a flight home, it gets cancelled again. So if you're trapped in a country anywhere away from your home, please email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com. Let me know, because I'd love to hear your stories on here as well and how you're using technology to get by and keep yourself sane. But enough from me. Jason Wu is an experienced digital currency entrepreneur solving real-world problems with blockchain technology. He's got a master's in BA and supply chain management, and Jason is going to speak with us today about DeFi, blockchain architecture, token economics, and smart contract integration, and much more. So let's get him on the podcast now. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Jason. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the invitation, and I'm glad to talk with you guys. So this is Jason Wu, the CEO and founder of DeFiner. And DeFiner is the decentralized finance innovator to define the future of open finance. And we based in Minneapolis, US, and working on this cool stuff, try to use blockchain technology to build a decentralized platform to serve the future of digital economy.
And that's why I invited you on today, because there's so much cool stuff that you're working on at the moment. And when I first learned about you, like you said a few moments ago, DeFiner is a peer-to-peer fintech network, but for digital savings, loans and payments. But I'm curious, can you expand on the problems that you set out to solve right from the beginning?
Yeah, for sure. And this is something happened like many years ago when I graduated from the school. It's as a millennials, very excited to get my first paycheck. And but soon I realized there's a problem. And all of my savings in my bank account, it's earned zero interest. It's zero interest. This makes me think, is there something wrong? Does my money really use this? Because why I get zero returns, right? But then I figure out another end. The small, medium-sized business, they don't even, when they borrow money from the bank, they don't get a zero interest rate. They still get a very high cost of capital. And that's something make me figure out, what's going on. Then when I dig through the problem, I realize there's a big centralized organization. They kind of manage the interest and to manage the consumers' behaviors to encourage you to spend and to boost the economy. And however, another side, the small medium-sized business, as I mentioned, they don't get a very cheap capital because there's a big centralized financial intermediaries in between people who need money and people who has money. And those centralized financial intermediaries, they make trillions of dollars away from people every year. So based on the McKinsey report, 2018, the 1 year, their revenue or their profit is like $5 trillion. Think about that, $5 trillion, that's a lot. And then that's the reason why they leaving us, like the millennials or the consumers, earn zero interest. And that's the problem we want to solve. But around let's think like many years ago. But until around 3 years ago, when I get to know more and more about blockchain technology, it's a immutable data, the network, And also they are enable smart contract technology. And at that time, I was also working on my CFA, have much better understanding about the overall system. These two things come together dramatically. And that's the born of DeFiner, so decentralized finance innovator. So that's the problem we want to solve. We want to return the true power of finance or true power of your wealth work for you, not for others. And this is a problem. Sometimes people don't even realize it's a problem, but it is a problem.
And we will have people listening all over the world at the moment. So just to get everybody on the same page, what would you say the advantages are when comparing the DeFi platform to traditional finance?
So for the DeFi platform, don't think about the underlying technology. I will speak several advantages. And the true difference is the code will replace the human or the big central financial intermediary to function and to facilitate the deals between borrowers and the lenders. So then you can imagine what the advantage is. It will give you a much lower cost because you don't need to pay people or pay a big organization, have this fancy building. It's a truer code in between people. Like any other, the internet giant, they kind of take out the middle layer of the distribution process. The same with money, like it will first take out the intermediaries and save a lot of cost. Also, it will automate the process. So the code will have very standard specs. If you meet this criteria, you can get money. And if you didn't, you will not get money. Also for the depositors, and they will enjoy higher returns. And so that's the beauty of the blockchain. Another thing is advantage is they do not have a centralized intermediary, and which means the book will be very transparent. Then you will understand what's the risks there. And compare right now, the financial system for all the consumer, you probably don't know what's the risk there. What's their, the books really risk exposure looks like. And then a lot of time you can suddenly one day lose all of your savings. So that's not happening for the decentralized finance. And also it's a truly automated process and available globally. So it's a standard product. If you think today, no matter where you are, all the financial service or bank you use is a local bank, regional bank, because the people regularly they trust their local like either government or organizations. They have a big branding factor to build the trust, but that will not extend globally. So everywhere you go from one country to another, one region to another, you still need to open a new bank account. For the decentralized finance, you don't need to do that anymore because it's a standard coding. Therefore, you don't need to have limited access. You can access it globally. So to summarize, for decentralized finance, the advantages will be by taking out the centralized intermediaries between people, you will get a much lower cost, which means borrowers, will get a lower cost of capital. Lenders will have a higher return because by cutting out of the middle layer. Also, the process will be truly optimized. Will truly be automatic process. So then the users, you don't need to wait too long, and the settlement will be much less. Also, it's a standard product and global available. You can, whenever you go, you can use it.
And powered by blockchain technology, I believe that DeFiner's decentralized financial platform actually enables users to effortlessly lend, borrow, and earn digital assets within a global network. But I'm also conscious that we're living in a world of one-click checkouts, Uber, and on-demand entertainment, which kind of makes people a little bit lazy. So if anyone listening wanted to give it a try, how easy is it for them to get up and running, especially when compared to traditional finance?
So it's like any other mobile applications or the web applications. So you will have a mobile app you can go to the iOS store, download, like search DeFiner and DeFiner Lending. You can download it either iOS or Android. Or the easiest way, you can just visit definer.org, and you will have access, and very easy to sign up and set up your account, then get a digital wallet, then you can feel free to use.
And for techies listening who want to take a look under the hood, can you tell me a little bit more about the tech that makes it all possible? Because I would imagine it's complex blockchain architecture, token economics, and smart contract integration. Is that right?
Yeah. And some protocol, they have the token economy, which is a bunch of tokens, but some is not that necessary. So for our platform, we currently still don't have that, but we may consider that in the future. I think the token economy is majorly will help compensate the community, grow the community, also return the control power to the community. So usually it will be the second stage. Once we have an available product, community love it, and then the alternative goal is to think about how can we make it more decentralized, which means return the power of control back to the community. That's when the token or the token economy things come to play. But when we start, we still focus on building the service itself.
And I'm curious, as someone that's working right in the heart of the industry, what kind of trends are you seeing in current decentralized lending and that market? And how have you seen the global pandemic impacting the industry as a whole, would you say?
Yeah, I think this industry started close to 3 years ago, and then it grows very quickly with a lot of famous VC, come to invest in this field, and it's keep growing. It grows from zero asset under management to over $1 billion now. I think the total loans processed through this network already over $2 billion per year, and it's keep growing. The space is very fast, and given this pandemic, I think this will boost the adoption of decentralized finance. It's first. And the decentralized finance is really, play with the centralized finance world, right? If the pandemic may cause a lot of serious issues for the overall economy, the interest will be keep driving lower. The central bank printing more and more money and to flood into the market, and even the interest will be much lower. So the decentralized finance, the interest usually is much higher than the centralized finance because the cost will be lowered down. And second is the fees. It's true the financial system is built on the trust, and we still didn't see the serious result of this pandemic yet, because now we are still very early. But we know there's a lot of people go under employment, and they may not able to pay back their debt. And, in current financial system, there's a lot of debt. And if the consumer cannot pay out the debt, and the business cannot pay back the debt, and then that can be a very serious problem, because then it will lead to a lot, the business go bankrupt, and then that's the consequence of this. But we still didn't see this yet, not right now, but may happen because it's so the pandemic has so powerful, the impact the economy. But let's see in the next 6 or 12 months what's happening. But if that really happen, that will really hurt people's trust of current centralized system, financial system, because it's based on the debt economy, based on printing money. And if that happen, if Zimbabwe or Argentina, all these other this kind of country, they really, once the people lose the face of their local currency, all these inflations things may happen. They may more choose to go to the decentralized financial system. And because they're in the decentralized financial system, there's no people controlling the printing power of the money. Also, there's more transparent. I do see that will give people, a huge boost and adoption to the decentralized financial system. That's kind of a long-term impact.
And in a world where everyone is now mindful of almost everything that they touch, do you think it will hasten the decline of cash and maybe even help the adoption of digital currencies too?
Yeah, because this digital currency, digital asset is a alternative investment channel, and this year and the Bitcoin, all this is if you go over all the financial class, Bitcoin is still the best return for this year, and the same with other like digital asset, like small, but overall this market is still very small. Like the overall the market size is only like close to $300 billion, and the overall market financial asset globally in the world there's around 250 or $300 trillion. Think about like billion trillion, so it's very small, and it become very good hedge for people, because this year we talk in the Bitcoin digital asset, they talking about halving. Once the halving, the overall network will be much energy efficiency, and that will drive down the cost. So that will release some pressure for the price upside. And I will say this market still financial market, which means they still have the correlation with any other financial asset. But however, since this market is very young, the adoption, the new users, the growth of the new users, that will help to break the correlation between this new emerging market and the overall financial market. So that will, give an opportunity for people to hedge their risk. Also, if they have more risk tolerance, they can choose to invest. But if they do not have that high tolerance, then they can choose to finance those people who are willing to take the risk and to own this asset. Then that's the function of the use case for decentralized finance. It's a collateralized loan. Basically, people who want to loan this asset, they borrow money to buy more, and then they can enjoy the safe return like 5 to 10%, which is much higher than the normal one. So that's what I think.
And I also think I should point out it's an incredibly exciting time for you, because DeFiner was also recently accepted onto the Techstars Accelerator program. And we will have a lot of startup founders listening to this podcast as well. So can you tell me a little bit more about that and your experiences with the program?
Yeah, for sure. And this is exactly I want to talk about, because this, the Techstars, all these accelerators, early stage VCs, they are traditional venture capitals or VCs. And before, like when I started this 2 years ago, they don't put blockchain application as a part of the fintech. And because that time I started to apply, and didn't get too much response because that's too early. And they don't think this is part of fintech. But start from last year, they put blockchain application in financial system as part of fintech. And fintech is their traditional sector. But other fintech, they more focus on incremental improvement for the current financial system, which is based on the centralized model. But then they saw the potential of the decentralized finance, which is based on the blockchain to build the new financial system. Then they come to scouting companies like us. And then we get selected. And I met the MD over the San Francisco TechCrunch Disrupt, and I get invited. And then Techstar is really, I will say, is a big entrepreneurship school for the young founders. And they teach you, founders generally have their technology background, have their new innovative ideas, but there's nobody, even in the school, no one teach you how to run a startup, what you need to learn, and what's the important thing for startup. I think that's the general skill set. So Techstars gave us a very good training for that skill set to make sure you can run a small size business, and you know how to deal with your founders. You know what's the skill set you need to have for your small business, and you need to know how to deal with VCs, deal with other partners, and also most importantly, they bring a group of people similar to you. It's kind of a school who have the same passion, same dream, all together, help each other, learn from each other, and that's very important. Then the second is they identify you as a potential leaders, founders for the future economy, and they also will give you financial support. They bring down a small amount of the pre-seed money as an investment. Also, they introduce you to their big, angel investors, macro VCs network, give you the credibility, give you the exposure, and help you to close your next, the fundraising. So I will say that's very useful and helpful, and we are very lucky to get selected in. And also, we contribute our knowledge to this, the social network under Techstars. And in Techstars, they always focus on giving first, which means you need to bring your own value to help others, to help each other. And that's the core value we're sharing within Techstars, within this big community. And it's just a bunch of, a group of people from technical background, from business background, from venture background. A group of people go together and build something cool for the next generation.
Excellent. And what's next for DeFiner, though? I mean, can you share a little bit more about your roadmap ahead and what you want to achieve here in 2020?
Yeah, for sure. So 2020 is a big year for us. We have a lot, the products ready to go and launch. We have launched our peer-to-peer lending product, which is truly, one person connected to another last year. And this year, next month, we are going to release our DeFi savings account. We call it the decentralized finance savings account. And it's going to be a truly automatic process and truly, between people to people, and return the 90% profit or interest back to the people. Also, we are going to release iOS and Android-based mobile application very soon, very close. So that's the two product I'm very excited about. And, we can, during this pandemic financial crisis, we can use that to serve the people and also see the growth that I am super excited. So once we finish these two products, like a DeFi lending, DeFi savings, we are moving to like DeFi wallet and the DeFi payment and invoicing, because we think, the reason why people using the banking service is they can easily store their value. Also, they need to pay and spend their wealth very easily. So that will be our next focus, is we can help the people, manage their wealth and earn the normal interest and pay each other very easily and send money to each other very easily. Also, our target is more like small, medium-sized business and the consumers. For small, medium-sized business, we are going to help them to manage their invoicing, and using your invoicing as a collateral can keep do the financing. Our eventual goal is to build our ecosystem. For the small, medium-sized business, they all have their customers. Actually, their customer can directly finance them because the customer like their product, right? And then the business, they have their product, they have their service, and that's also they have their branding. That's a natural collateral. So if we can close the loop between consumers and the business all together, consumers have savings to finance their product and of the business, and the business use the money they get from the consumers and continue improve and build product and serve the product to the people, to the consumer. That's a complete loop. And in this process, we don't need any financial intermediary anymore. So that's our big dream. So we want to achieve that. So we want to bring the community together. This community will be people who, produce service or products, that's typically business. Also, we have consumers who consume products or service, and they have savings, they help each other, and then they evolve each other. That's our, eventually goal. We don't need financial intermediaries because we have this, decentralized network available already. It's still young, but you see the function is, and the technology works. Really, it works very well. That's the true freedom of finance, right? So, and return the most profit back to the community.
Absolutely. And for anyone that would like to find out a little bit more information about DeFiner, maybe join your community or even contact a member of your team, can you point them in the best direction of where they can find out about that information?
Yeah. Remember our name. Like you can Google DeFiner, and then you will see DeFiner at the top search. And or you can go, we are decentralized finance innovator, or you can search DeFiner.org. You can just go directly DeFiner.org, ORG, and then you can find all the information you need. Also, you can follow us on Twitter, DeFiner.org, DeFiner.org. LinkedIn, the same, DeFiner.org. Yeah, as long as you remember our name is DeFiner.org, DeFiner organization, you can find us very easily.
Excellent. Well, I love what you're doing here, especially the removing the friction and costs associated with that conventional finance services, and instead offering something that gives more flexibility and allows anyone to set their own rates and their own terms. Because I think we're all starting to demand that in every area of our life now, and fintech has been lagging behind a little bit. So I wish you the best of luck with this. But more than anything, just a big thank you for taking the time to share your story today, Jason. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Neil. It's very, my pleasure to talk with you and to share the vision of we have, about the decentralized finance. It's typically you will not hear this, and but I will make sure and I can based on our understanding of technology, this is the time to change. It's the time to change, to move to the new digital economy. Compare with the old, the finance or digital economy, we need a digital finance.
Powered by blockchain technology, DeFiner's decentralized financial DeFi platform is enabling users to effortlessly lend, borrow, and earn digital assets within one global network. And I do like how they're approaching this by removing the friction and costs associated with conventional financial services, but also removing the need for third parties from its financial ecosystem, which traditionally just make it slow and sluggish. And they do that, of course, by using an immutable blockchain to track all loans and transactions, providing ultimate security for their users. But this is the moment where I turn the virtual microphone back over to you. You've heard me talk about it. You've heard Jason, today's guest, share his experiences, but I know each and every one of you out there have got your own experiences, passions and beliefs and experiences that you want to share as well. So please email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, and my website is techblogwriter.co.uk. So let me know what you think. I'll be back tomorrow. I've got another guest lined up where we'll look at another tech story from another industry. And I hope you'll join me once again. But a big thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.